Let's make sourdough together in the middle of the week with a very, very busy schedule. I want to show Mama that sourdough doesn't need to be complicated, and it is absolutely something that you can do even with a busy schedule. Here I have removed my excess discard starter out of my jar so that my jar equals 125 grams of starter. I added 125 grams of all-purpose flour and 125 grams of water. I'm going to stir all of it up and make sure there's no clumps or bumps, and then scrape down my sides, add my loose-fitting lid, finish my cup of coffee, and head outside to get some chores done. We've got to work in the garden and let the chickens out to free range for a bit. We have now come back. It is 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and my starter is ready. We are going to add 500 grams of all-purpose flour to start our dough. Look at this mug. She's so cute. Get yourself a cute mug from the thrift store to put on your counter with your flour. It just brings a little joy into the kitchen. 500 grams of all-purpose flour, 200 grams of whole wheat flour, 250 grams of bread flour, 650 grams of water, 20 grams of sea salt, and then we're ready for the star of the show. Here is Stella. She's risen up. She's ready to show off. Look at all those bubbles. Super active. We're going to add 200 grams of starter. Now we're ready to mix. Make sure you kiss your loved ones goodbye whenever they leave, always and forever. I'm going to mix up my dough while I chat with the kiddos, and then my dough will be ready to just rest for 30 minutes. Make sure you cover your bowl with a tea towel or some sort of plastic wrap because you don't want bugs or dirt to get in there. 30 minutes have passed and we're ready for our first set of stretch and folds. We're going to get our hands a little bit wet because the dough won't stick to them that way, and we're going to lift our dough up and fold it over. Lift it up, fold it over, turn it a quarter turn, lift it up, fold it over, turn it a quarter turn, lift it up and fold it over. You're going to do that 4 times. Recover your bowl, set it aside, let it rest for 30 more minutes. Now we're ready for our second set of stretch and folds. We're going to do the same thing, get our hands wet, and repeat these stretch and folds, coming up and over 4 times, turning the bowl a quarter turn each time. Cover your bowl. You can see the dough is starting to rise beautifully. Let it rest for 30 minutes, and then we're going to move into our third set of stretch and folds, doing the same exact thing, up and over 4 times, turning a quarter turn. You can see my dough is getting nice and lots of tension, and it's just beautiful. We're going to set that aside, let it rise on the counter. I actually had to work this day. I teach ballet in the evenings, and my dough just stayed on the counter rising. There was a severe thunderstorm, so I got home later than I usually would. So it's a little overproofed, my dough is, but it's still nice and jiggly and will turn out just fine. I'm going to scrape all my dough out of the bowl, and then I'm going to split it. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but this recipe does make 2 loaves. I'm going to set one of my dough balls aside, and I'm going to take the other and start very gently stretching it out. This is called lamination. Then I'm going to fold my 2 corners over, roll it up, and start moving that dough away and towards myself very gently, creating tension in that ball and dough. After I'm done doing that, I'm going to line my Banneton basket with a tea towel, very gently flip my dough over, and then I'm going to do something called stitching. You don't have to do this. It just creates a little bit more tension, but it's not necessary. I just started doing this, and I've been making sourdough for a very long time. Now I'm going to cover that up, and I'm going to work on my second loaf, and then I'm going to take both of these loaves, put them in the fridge for a cold proof overnight, and now it is the next morning, 7 o'clock. I'm enjoying a cup of coffee while my oven preheats at 500 degrees with the Dutch oven in there. I'm going to let my Dutch oven get really hot. I've pulled my dough out of the fridge, and now I'm going to pull out some parchment paper. I'm going to lay my dough on the parchment paper and get ready to score my dough. You can lightly dust your dough with flour if you want to. It's not necessary. It just allows you to see the design better. You don't even have to do a design. You could just score a line down the center, and that would be very traditional and still beautiful. Here I'm going to do a traditional wheat stock. I enjoy getting creative with these loaves and putting fun little designs on them, but you, like I said, don't have to. This will not change the way that the dough bakes. Now I'm going to pull my Dutch oven out. It's been in there preheating with the oven. It's really, really hot, so be careful. Remove your lid. I add rice to the bottom of my Dutch oven. It just keeps the bread from burning on the bottom. Then I'm going to get 1/3 of a cup of hot water and put that underneath the parchment paper. If you can see here, steam is going to start coming up, and this is going to create a really beautiful, delicious, crunchy crust. We're going to put our Dutch oven in, lower our temp on our oven to 475, and let it bake for 25 minutes. Once 25 minutes has passed, we're going to remove the lid and reset the timer for 20 minutes. Now my loaf is done. Look at that crunchy, look at all those lovely bubbles. It's so good, you guys. It's so good. Beautiful bread, and it's so easy to do. It can totally work into your schedule. I hope you try. I pray y'all have an absolutely blessed week. Thanks for watching.